Hey, it's Royale. Welcome back to another video. We are in Oasis Springs working on a mid-century modern build. If you came from my last video, you know we were also in Oasis Springs actually working on the house that you can see in some of the wider shots across the street from this one. That one was super sleek, modern, just for two Sims, kind of giving like, they were probably socialites or like influencers is kind of the vibe that I was going for. But I wanted the house across the street to give a totally different vibe, wanted it to be very family oriented, but still give that desert mid-century modern vibe. So that is what I went for as far as the layout goes. I made enough room for so I was initially going to have 4 Sims in this house, 2 adult Sims, a teenager, and a child, but I actually decided to turn one of the rooms that I thought was going to be a bathroom into kind of like a little nursery. So I added an infant to the family that I actually made and placed into this house for my save file. So if you guys wanted to convert that room into like a bathroom or something like an office, you easily could, but I know a lot of people are going to be including infants into their gameplay if they're not already, because we just had that growing together pack come out, and I just personally had a child in my game. Like, my gameplay is I'm trying to do a generations thing and actually stick through it longer than like 2 or 3 generations. It's a struggle. I'm trying to make it to 10. I just had generation number 4. So I have a baby in my current household. In my save, and not in my save game, I'm sorry, but in like kind of my personal play, like what I do to de-stress and whatever. So I actually haven't played with infants myself, but I know a lot of people are playing with them for the first time, or they have been playing with them because that pack came out. I guess it's been like a month or 2. I don't know. I lose track of time so quickly, but it's been out long enough that most people have been playing with infants for a while and will be utilizing a space like that probably pretty frequently, in my opinion, because honestly, I had just a little tiny bit of gameplay with the infant that I placed in this house, in this family, just trying to like play test everything and make sure that the crib worked and everything like that. But oh, it was so cute. I get it. I totally get it. I just didn't want to make my sim and my gameplay like have a baby like way earlier than I had initially planned for the storyline. So I was trying to be patient for once, and I feel like, I got her through university. She's got a good career, her and her partner are in a good place, and I was like, fine, we're gonna have a child. Here we are. So I'll be getting my exposure to that very soon, but I know a lot of you guys have already been, playing around with them and have been really enjoying the interactions. I know that was kind of my favorite part, is just seeing like all of the interactions that they can do, and like, oh my gosh, like knitting them things. Like, I don't know, if you have the nifty knitting stuff pack, like I don't know how you don't just like make your Sims like knit your children Sims, child Sims, baby Sims, whatever they are, like just a bunch of little outfits. Like, you can't go as extreme as I would totally go with it, because I'm extra about it, but I love making all of my little Sims like a special little sweater, like from the parent or whomever within the family is going to be like the person that's like a knitter, just because I think it's cute. Okay, I think it's adorable to have somebody in your life that cares about you enough to make you a freaking sweater. How stinking cute is that? But I don't know, I love that, and I love all of the little outfits. Like, I was dressing them. I'll do a video if you guys want me to, of the creative sim of making this family. I recorded it, I just haven't edited it yet. But even the little outfits for the baby, oh my gosh, I was like, this is too adorable. This is a problem. I'm gonna be having infants all over this place. And like, low-key, I don't know if it was me or if it was like the game, but it was a little buggy. So let me know, I guess, if you guys have been playing with infants, if you've noticed bugs, because like I said, I haven't had any in my game personally yet, and we're in like the middle of June, so it's been a while. If you guys are noticing bugs with it, like, let me know. I don't really keep up to date with things like that, because I play, as far as gameplay, I play sometimes, but I'm definitely more of a builder. I'm spending a lot of my time in a different part of the game, so I'm definitely not always privy to like a lot of the I don't know, do you guys call it live mode or live mode? I call it live mode. I'm not always privy to the live mode issues unless I'm like actively playing a game, and like I said, I haven't been playing with kids or anybody any younger than a young adult for at least a month or 2, so it's been a minute. I'll stop gossiping too and actually get into like a little bit of the thought process that I'm going for here. I wanted the kitchen to be open and have enough space where you could have multiple Sims cooking at a time if you wanted them to be, because I love that interaction. Your Sims build memories together, so the relationship is a bit stronger. And I think that it's so freaking adorable. Just like, especially if you have like your kid Sims and they have like a little stool that they can put up. Oh my gosh, it's like it sends me every time. I'm like, and that's a true family. I don't know, it's silly, but I thought that this was a space that they used quite a lot. Even when I was playtesting it, I had one of the Sims in here, you know, just making sure that all of the utensils worked and the appliances, and I had one of them cooking, and then another one just came in to like do their homework, and I was like, exactly, this is what I mean. Like, this is a space that they use all of the time. They commune here together. Maybe they host sometimes and they'll bring some friends over to like have like a pool day or whatever, and they'll make a nice meal in there together. Or even like if they're feeling like a little bougie and they've got some extra money, maybe they'll have somebody come over and like cook for them, you know, whatever. They've got the space to do it, and I think it's like such a cute like layout. I think that it's perfect. It gives like a bit of an openness but also feels kind of cozy and lived in, especially when I start to go in with the clutter, which I'll do in just a minute. I think that that really brings it together and gives that like lived in feeling. I don't know. For me, clutter is, I love using it. I know some people are just like, I don't get it. I like more of a minimalist vibe, and more power to you. I am definitely a maximalist in just my general style. And once I started like building clutter and, you know, putting more of it in my houses, I was like, I can't stop. I just felt like it made my builds look so much better. So I love adding clutter, especially in houses like this that like I said, you know, you have multiple Sims living in. It's quite lived in. They're hosting a lot, so they need access to a lot of stuff, and they have maybe some stuff just laying out because, you know, they've got the dishes that are, yeah, sure, dry, but they're not put away because I have got 3 kids, man. I don't have time for that. Ugh. I don't know. It just feels lived in, which I love. I think that it gives more of a realistic vibe to the houses, but I need to do more minimalist homes. So maybe that's something I can work on. I've been actually thinking about going into like Mount Komorebi and doing some of the houses there, because my save file is looking quite thin in in that part of the world. I have done, I think 2 or 3 builds there, but I really want to do some of the commercial lots and things like that. So I know that the aesthetic is much more minimalistic, and honestly, it looks so good. I was taking a look at one of my Mount Komorebi builds the other day because my Sims that I'm actually playing and like having the baby with and whatever, they currently live there. And oh my gosh, I was like, oh, you know, you actually can do a minimalist build in your style and you can like it. It's possible. So I think that I need to do more of those. So I guess be on the lookout for that. And if I don't do it, I request it because I will probably forget. I'm just being honest. We're getting into the living room now. This is, again, a lived-in space. I went with the sunken-in lounge room. I was thinking about just doing it for like the seating area, kind of like in like the 70s like inspo pics that you'd see if you would look that up. But I didn't really have like the space I wanted to for that to make it still feel like open and flowy. So I went for like something different and just took this whole room and placed it down, which I think worked in my favor and was an unexpected surprise. This build was a totally like trust the process situation, because there were like, especially with like this living room entryway area, I would say the plan that I had in my head when I was initially like building it and like laying it out versus what I ended up with is so different, but the finished product is way better than what I had initially planned. So I'm glad that I fiddled with it a lot. I did do it off camera just because it did take me a little bit of time to do, and was overall like yeah, it was a bit, I don't know, it was a bit of like, I gotta see this, I gotta see that, I gotta see this, total waste of time. So I did that off camera, but I like how it turns out. I'm glad that I trusted my process. I'm glad that I fiddled around with it, because I feel like this fits the vibe that I was going for without like cutting the space off, because every way that I had worked out the layout any other like time, it felt like way more closed off. And when I added in these like little room dividers, that for me, it gave the vibe of mid-century modern, and it gave a bit of openness but also separation from that entryway space, which was exactly what I was going for. I tried it with like half walls and things like that, but that just, I don't know, it just didn't feel right. Every other way that I had tried to do this exact same kind of feel just did not feel like it was supposed to be done that way. So I messed around with it until I was happy, which I'm so glad that I did, because I love this like little built-in fireplace moment that we have here. I love the sunken in lounge. I feel like it fits the vibe that I was going for. And I don't know, like it really suits the family. Like once I had them in here and they were like watching a movie together and like somebody was over on the computer, it really felt like their house. And that's obviously what I'm kind of going for, especially with my save file. But I'm just really, really happy that I trusted the process and, kept messing with it, because it didn't feel right to me. And when you have done, I don't know how many builds I've done now, but once you've done quite a bit of builds and you were like really in the process, you'll just know when something doesn't feel right and you still need to like mess with it because you have something better in mind, but you just can't quite work it out. And sometimes with The Sims, it really takes like just turning the game off and like taking a day or taking a few hours. That's actually what I did. I turned the game off. I stopped recording, obviously, and I took a few hours, cooked some dinner, came back to it, tried it again, really liked the outcome, and was like, okay, see, sometimes you just need a fresh mind, and you can work in this space. You just need to get a bit of separation from you in the room right now, because you're obviously looking at everything way too closely, and you need a bit of perspective. So I'm glad that I did that and took that time. And I do recommend it if you're ever working on a build and you get a bit stuck. Take a day, take a few hours, even take like a 5-minute walk, because it can make a lot of difference in your mindset and with your builds. Like honestly, I highly recommend it. A lot of the times when I'm having struggles or really difficult times with like a build or how I want something to look, I will take a small break, a little bit of a breather. Even sometimes like I am working on a huge build, I need multiple days away from it. But when I come back, it's like everything that I had originally been having issues with it just melts away, because my mindset is new. I'm looking at it from a different perspective for some reason, and it just works. So I highly recommend it. We are now kind of working on more of the finishing details with this bedroom. I wanted it to kind of feel like a transitional space for this kid. He, in my head, is maybe like 11 or so he's still interested in some of his childhood activities, playing dolls, hanging out, playing with his dinosaur, doing stuff on his activity table. But he's kind of transitioning into that older headspace where he's into gaming more, maybe into sports more. So I thought that this was a good room that you could have your Sims like kind of grow with, if that makes sense. Like you could still use that bed and this main layout even when they're teenagers, and just switch out some of the items, which is kind of more realistic in my opinion anyway, especially if you're somebody that like doesn't use any cheats for money or anything like that. You're gonna want spaces like that are going to be easy to transition for your Sims as they just get slightly older and maybe have like some of the same hobbies and like the same style, but they just need like a couch to hang out with their friends on or something of that nature. So I thought it would be more realistic and obviously cost effective to have a space that could work for a teen or a child pretty easily interchangeable there. We're working on the teens bedroom now, which is again like kind of like chill vibes, mid-century modern, but I still feel like the end of it looks like a teenager's bedroom. We've got a little space for them to game over here, and it's like a little, I like this little desk because it's decorated. It looks like that like spot in the back is actually like decorated with like some mementos and some photos and things like that. So I thought that was cute. I have something like that over my desk actually, and I wanted them to have like a little proper gaming setup with some headphones and everything. Maybe they do kind of want to get away from the family sometime and like have their own time. So I thought that was like the perfect little space for them to just chill and have their own activity and kind of lock themselves away from the younger kids if they chose to, and still I I don't know. When I was playtesting this, the older Sim was playing games on his computer, and then the younger boy came in here immediately to like talk to him. And he was being so nice to his younger brother and just like chatting him up. And I'm like, girl, I know that it's The Sims, but most siblings would be like, get out of here. What do you want? No, no, you cannot do your homework on my bed. What are you? No, get out of here. You literally have a whole desk in your room. So I thought that maybe sometimes he lets his little brother come in here and they can chill. And, you know, I feel like they have a good relationship. I still feel like he's like, ugh, my younger brother wants to be with me constantly. But also he knows that his little brother just like admires him, and that's why he's obsessed with him. I don't know if you have any younger siblings, but they all go through this period. It's different for every age and every relationship, but they go through this period where they're obsessed with you. My younger brother did it when we were really little. He was like, I was like his second mom to him in his eyes, probably because I was like wanting to be like, let me hold the baby. I don't know, whatever. I was a kid. I don't remember, but I have a photo of us when he and I are like 5 and 3 maybe, and he is latched on to me like I am a life vest, and he is going off the Titanic. That is, I mean, it's like one of my favorite pictures in the entire world, but that kid was obsessed with me at that time. Like, that's what everybody tells me. I don't quite remember it because like he was just always there, you know, he's my brother, but from memory, my family says that he was just obsessed with me, and like anytime that my mom was not directly with him, he was latched on to me like that for dear life. So I thought that this little brother is kind of going through that period of like, I mean, like, I know you said I wasn't allowed in your room, but like, I need help with my homework. So, and then the older brother's like, just come in, okay? Just come on. Just get in here. Mom doesn't need to know that I let you in. Don't let her know I was being nice to you. But like, yes, you can come in. So I feel like they have that kind of relationship. It's quite cute. We are working on the parents' bedroom now, which I wanted to still feel like it was styled and give a little bit of their personality, but I wanted it to feel quite plain in comparison to the rest of the house, just because I feel like they are in this room the very least. I did give them like a little spot to sit and chill. That way, like if they're up at night with the baby, and maybe the baby is kind of not fully asleep but kind of going to sleep, and you don't want to be in the same room as them, because if you make eye contact with a child that is falling asleep, no, that child is no longer falling asleep and you are up for at least a few hours. So I wanted to give them a little spot in their bedroom where they could sit and read a book or something like that and chill, and not necessarily get right back into bed so they don't fall asleep. I mean, it's more like realistic than necessarily what you would experience in gameplay, but that's typically like how I like to furnish my houses, and it fills the space nicely too, because when I was just like building houses and filling up the space and putting items in that like my Sims would use, and not like thinking like, oh, it would be kind of nice to have like a little spot for them to sit if their baby was up one night like kind of sick and maybe they didn't want to go directly to bed because they wanted to be alert. I started to think about stuff like that when I wanted to fill up more of my, you know, spaces and give my Sims more backstories and storylines, and I think that doing that has really helped me. It's given me a lot of like perspective and given me like more opportunities to use a lot more of the items, and I really like how the builds turn out when I'm more creative and I actually think of how real people would use this and not how my Sims would use this. I don't know. It makes sense to me now, but I probably would have been like, huh? At a certain point if you had tried to explain this to me. So if you're not getting it, I get it, trust me. We are moving on to like one of the bathrooms here. I originally wanted there to be 2 bathrooms. I think I mentioned that in the beginning, but the bedroom that I had the infant in was originally going to be kind of like an ensuite to that main bedroom, and I decided like I don't know, I think it was last minute, but I decided at one point to switch it to an infant's room just to, you know, incorporate more gameplay for different people. But if you wanted to switch it to a bathroom or an office, you can easily do that. I wanted to put a bathtub in this room though, specifically just in case anybody does use this build as it's intended, and like how I built it to where you would have eventually a toddler in the house, and they do need a bath for you to be able to take care of them. So it's so much harder to like have a bathroom and need to fit in a bath where there wasn't one than it is to design a bathroom where you automatically are going to have that built in. So I want to always make sure that I add them into builds where there are going to be little kids, or have at least one bathroom where there's a bathtub in most of my builds, just for that reason, because I know I'm not going to be obviously the only person utilizing this. Other people will download this and have their own purposes. So I wanted to make it as easy for people to use with their many different gameplay styles as possible, with knowing that like still some people download a build and they just like get rid of all of the furniture and decorate it themselves, which is like totally what I used to do. So it probably doesn't even matter anyway. It's like it's all just for my save game in my head anyway, so it's fine. Okay, so we are working on the little Evans room. I love this clutter stuff that you see me placing just right before this. That is all a base game now. I am absolutely in love. It came after the Growing Together pack, obviously. We didn't have anything like that beforehand. We had like a few items that you could put in a room like this to make it still kind of feel like a cluttery used space, but it's being used for like its intended purpose, which is like a baby. They're not gonna have a ton of stuff in there, but now we have like little like toiletries and stuff like that for babies, and like little stuff for like you to like clip their nails. It just looks so much more realistic, and it's so much easier to style a room like this now that we have items like that available to us than it was like even like 3 months ago, like 4 months ago. It's like so crazy how just one pack, one update can change the game so much, and like change how we can decorate a space and overall play the game. I think that that's actually super cool. But I did the backyard off camera just because I fiddled with it so much, and it was really monotonous. The fencing that you see, I did replace it with a debug fence, and placing that down, I have to alt place every single one of those. Things like that I just feel like are kind of tiring to watch, so I usually try to cut that out. But if you do want to see me work on a backyard like this or recreate this for you on camera so you can see how I did like that sunken down area or where I grabbed this debug stuff, I can totally do that. Please let me know below if you want something like that. I just I know for so many people they've seen, me personally, I've seen so many different Sims builds. I've seen 100 million different backyards built. So it's not that big of a deal if somebody cuts something like this out for me personally. But if it does matter to you, I can absolutely recreate that or, film something like that in the future. I just like to cut a lot of my fiddling out because it can be quite boring to watch. So I try to save you guys all of that. I wanted to add in kind of like, I'm just pretending this is a pantry. Okay, I'm pretending it's a pantry and not like a linen closet or whatever, because it's in the kitchen and it doesn't matter anyway. Your Sims can obviously get dressed out of there if they so choose. I guess we could pretend that that's where they keep like towels or things like that for the pool as well. But I just that space felt empty, and I was going to put like a hutch or something like that, but I just thought none of that really fit the style of this build in my opinion, so I went for that retro looking closet instead. So like I said, it's up to you. You can pretend it's whatever you want to pretend it is, but your Sims can obviously get dressed there. So maybe you do have your Sims go there and actually get dressed before they enter the pool instead of them just going outside and doing a spin. But it's up to you. It's how you determine your own gameplay. I'm pretending like it's a little pantry because in my dream house I have a lovely pantry in mind, but I think that's just because I don't have a pantry now, and I'm jealous of anybody that does have a pantry because, oh my gosh, it would make such a difference. I'm literally looking up ways to like incorporate a pantry into our house, building one myself. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I need some more storage in my kitchen, so I gave them the storage I want. We are almost done now. I'm putting in a few like options for your Sims to do some skill building in the house because I noticed I didn't really have anything like that, but we are pretty much done. I'm gonna have a few photos of the Sims like actually in the build and things like that for you at the end. Otherwise, we are fully done with the build. I thank you so much for being here today, and if you like these videos, please subscribe, like it below, and if you want to see more, please comment down below what you want to see me do in the future. But I really appreciate you watching me today. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day.